do and how they guard multiple actions. But Reeves and Frederick on the floor completely changes how you have to defend Kentucky.
Radford 20 points on 7 of 8. Reeves 21. And for Reeves, 5 of his 7 makes have come from 3. Remember, Radford only had 2 at the half. A&M basketball, they put more time on the shot clock. There's 19 seconds on the shot clock.
And Hooch Radford is underneath the rim right now. See where he goes, where he wants the ball, where they get it to him.
He gives it up. Does he get it back? On the handoff, Wallace tried to blow it up. And they'll get Wallace for his 3rd personal. And Cason Wallace is the rarity. He is a freshman in his first year of college basketball that is an elite defender.
And he adds size to that Kentucky defensive team as opposed to when Wheeler's on the floor. When Kentucky has their big lineup, now offensively, you're seeing 5-on-5. When there's a small guard on the floor, not just Severe Wheeler, but any team that plays a 5'8", 5'9" guard, offensively, Tom, you're playing 5-on-4 defenders because that small guy really doesn't impact your vision at all. Important free throws by Radford. Tough guy on the stripe and late clock, probably automatic.
A&M is perfect from the free throw line. 15 for 15.
They came in today making 16 per game in conference play. And they're about to hit their average here with another make. There it is.
22-point effort for Radford. That's 10 more than his season average. They've extended the press now to go full court. Reeves takes it all the way, and he floats it in.
Man, the gumption of Reeves to attack the press and make a hard floater. Really well done. Got the ball at the sidelines, got to the middle third of the floor quickly.
Wallace overplaying the left. Radford takes advantage and slips it to Coleman.
They go empty side ball screen. They force Toppin to be the ball screen defender. Steps out up on the ball. Easy pocket pass for 2.
Cats have made 5 of their last 6 from the floor.
Cal has 2 timeouts if he doesn't like what he sees.
Under a minute to play. Shot clock now at 10. They'll spread the floor. Wallace behind Oscar's screen. Here's Frederick now. Pull up. Got it.
Money. What a vicious cut by Frederick to run to get the ball to start with and then to stay under control and not shoot an off-balance jumper.
Radford had it partially blocked by Wallace. Missed opportunity. Kentucky leads by 6, a half minute to play. And Buzz is trying to get his guys to foul. Coleman hasn't done it yet.
Man, Tom, I'm telling you, the cut more important than the release sometimes. Watch Frederick knowing late clock, I've got to win the foot race to the ball. And then to get himself gathered under control. Really well done, forcing Andre Gordon to fly by. Such a smart, high IQ, tough kid. Always in the right position defensively. As that finger gets better, those 3-point shots are going to start to drop. A slugfest right now that Kentucky's trying to get out of Rupp Arena with another conference win.
C.J. Frederick has not missed a free throw in conference play, and he's given the Cats now their largest lead of the game. And a good shooter, remains perfect from the stripe in the league. Kentucky 26 seconds away from handing A&M its first conference loss of the season. And that would put Alabama all alone in first place in the SEC.
And again, heavy minutes today by Calipari with these 5 guys that are on the floor right now.
Step back, Wade Taylor. Got it!
That's a 2. His foot was on the line. An absolute must. Still gain pressure on Kentucky to inbounds it and make free throws.
A&M going for the steal, and on the reach, Dennis stops the clock and puts Cason Wallace at the free throw line.
Amazing coming in today. Cason Wallace only 2 free throw attempts in conference play. Clearly the right foot on the line of the last basket by Texas A&M.
Wallace has another one coming.
Will be the third win in a row for Kentucky. They go to Vanderbilt, I believe, the middle of the week.
Yeah, it's Tuesday night on the SEC Network.
A monster opportunity for Kentucky in this building next Saturday against Kansas.
Sheboy had the rebound. It ends up with Toppin, and he'll get fouled with 11 ticks left on the clock. I was talking to C.J. Frederick before the game today about his reaction to John Calipari in the Tennessee win. There was a big hug. There was a smile from John Calipari. And he said, we knew what our coach was going through. We knew the arrows that he was taking from the fans, from the media, from everybody being critical of him. We wanted to win that game for our coach, and we were able to do it. And we weren't happy necessarily for ourselves as much as we were happy for John Calipari.
Yeah, they believe in their coach 1,000%. Both these teams do. You can't have more belief in how you're supposed to play the game than Texas A&M does. I talked to Cal that night after the Tennessee win by Kentucky, and his response to what you just said was, the first thing out of his mouth, I'm so happy for my guys, because it's hard to play at Kentucky. And when things aren't going well, you want to see things finally turn the corner. Kentucky has turned the corner. They have figured out what works for them.
Radford for three. Would be fitting for his afternoon for that one to have gone down. Kentucky's going to hold on. It'll be the third straight win for the Cats, and it's the first SEC loss of the season for Buzz Williams and Texas A&M. For Jimmy Dykes, our fantastic crew, our final. Cats 76, Aggies 67. Time to get you to Baton Rouge. Here's Courtney Lyle and Dave Bradshaw.
Welcome to Baton Rouge. It has been a tough stretch for LSU in the midst of 4 ranked opponents in a row. Courtney Lyle and Dane Bradshaw with you. Tennessee on a 9-0 run right now, and it's been a 7-minute scoring drought for LSU. That's kind of been their bugaboo this season.
It has, and the physicality down low, Tennessee has the advantage. That time LSU giving up a shot right at the rim with a deep post touch.
That shot was from KJ Williams, the leading scorer for this LSU team, and there's going to be a foul.
And Tennessee has gotten off to a pretty good start. Josiah Jordan-James showed you how he can flash to that mid-range. Zakai Ziegler doesn't settle for 3 after a few of those empty possessions. And then he says, you know what? Just to show everybody at home, I've got the 3-ball rolling for me. This guy was electric on the road at Mississippi State, where he caught fire from beyond the arc. And I'm telling you, 5 in orange is in the conversation as the best point guard in the Southeastern Conference. We're seeing why early on in this one.
Look, he got fired from all over the court. Played 40 minutes, had a career-high 24 points. Starting tonight, Zakai Ziegler, a different lineup for Tennessee than we have seen all season. Ziegler, Phillips, Kamwa, Vescovy, and James is starting 5.
Ziegler's so mentally tough on the road at Mississippi State. First 10 minutes, not so good. And typically a player has to have a bounce-back game. He bounced back in the same game and played some of the best basketball I've seen from a point guard in that final 30 minutes, therefore getting the starting nod, as you mentioned.
Again, this Tennessee team, a number 2 seed right now by Joe Lunardi. Kentucky, now part of the last 4 in with their win that just happened over Texas A&M. You just finished up watching.
That's how I had my preseason polls. Is that how you
yep.
put it into? Yeah.
Maybe not. Another note, lineup note for Tennessee. Ziegler misses. Uroš Plavšić. Now, he wasn't going to be in the starting lineup coming into this game. They were going to try this new lineup, but overnight he became ill, so we haven't seen him in the gym. He did not warm up.
Tennessee has a lot of depth at that spot. He gives them physicality down low and has really been a terrific force for Tennessee and pushed others to improve their game if they want minutes. But fortunately for Rick Barnes and this staff, they do have other options at the 5.
Olivier Kamwa just whistled for his first foul. There's Justice Williams over to Adam Ace Miller. Hasn't found his shot yet, but he's played some tough defense on Tennessee. Tyreek Key.
A nice job there by Meshack. He saw the defender backpedaling, and if that's the case, do not pull up and stop. Keep attacking the rim. Well done by Meshack. And here you'll see Miller's doing his best, but leaning backwards. Good call there by the official.
That'll be the second foul on Miller. We were lucky enough, Tennessee let us watch film with them last night, and some of the things they pointed out, everything starting with transition offense. They felt like that was a weakness for LSU, and then also LSU is 354th in rim defense, so Tennessee wanted to go inside.
Right, and some of that is transition, some of it's in the half court where they just don't have that rim protection. But for Coach Matt McMahon, 5 turnovers early, a lot of those not really forced either, just deflections, careless passes. They are not good enough on offense to have that many empty possessions. They got to shore things up on this end of the court.
Matt McMahon coming over from Murray State. Been focusing on the little things with this LSU team. Their one win in conference play was over Arkansas, who actually will be their next opponent.
Yeah, they had won some good, close early games when you look at what they did against Wake Forest in the non-conference. But the SEC is tough, man, and you can get humbled real quick. So it's a mental challenge as much as anything right now for LSU.
Miller's shot won't go. Rebound by Derek Fountain. He's stopped, and Kamwa's got it. Tennessee didn't have Tyreek Key or Santiago Vescovi for their last game. They're both back today. Ten seconds. Kamwa's going to let it fly.
And that's what LSU wants him to do. He is a capable shooter from deep, but they intentionally backed off there to try to bait him into that deep shot.
Defense is there for LSU, but the offense, 9 minutes without a field goal. There it is, Derek Fountain, the transfer from Mississippi State.
And they took advantage of the mismatch. They couldn't get it early when Vescovi was guarding Fountain down low. Instead, the point guard takes the big man off the bounce. Penetration kills. Easy bucket for LSU.
We were talking to Fountain yesterday. He told us he felt like his game has gotten better on the inside game, like we saw just a minute ago in the paint.
The closer he roams around the basket, the more efficient player he is.
He's trying to come off the screen. The kick out to Ace Miller. Up and in for KJ Williams. Williams came into this game needing 11 points to hit 2,000 in his career. He's got 4.
And Olivier Kamwa with a couple rush shots from the perimeter, gives up the offensive rebound. Has to play a little bit smarter on both ends of the court.
Vescovi alone. Key's got it. Kamwa's shot bounces out and the foul on the floor.
Well, we mentioned the LSU scoring drought, but starting to find their rhythm just a little bit. First is the penetration with the easy deuce for Derek Fountain, and then KJ Williams showed you why. He's one of the top offensive rebounders in league play, showing a little muscle. It sure has. I was around Santiago Vescovi in the offseason, the great senior leader for Tennessee. I said, hey, man, what's one team that you just like take a little bit more personally? Because you know what, I compete against all of them at the highest level. But if I had to name one, LSU, man. Yeah. The fans, the players, they get under your skin a little bit. It's always been a chippy affair. Many of those right there under the Fighting Will Wades. They have a little bit different personnel than we're seeing here, where they bother Tennessee with a lot of switching, force them to settle from 3 and not pound you inside. But it's a similar challenge against this year's Rick Barnes team.
Tennessee has lost the last 4 meetings with LSU inside the PMAC, and there's Vescovi right on cue.
Yeah, you go into that zone, you better find shooters, and Vescovi is very comfortable. That was not a deep shot from him. It might have looked deep on TV, but that's routine for 25.
Just his first made bucket tonight, again coming off a game he did not play against Mississippi State earlier in the week. LSU's hits 2 of its last 12 field goals. 5 seconds now for Hannibal. Man, he can get there.
And he does such a good job. When he gets too deep in the paint, he likes to do that reverse and use that rim as an extra shield from the shot blocker.
We were talking to Matt McMahon, and he said, I love his physicality, especially in the SEC, but also defensively what he brings off the bench.
Yeah, he's a guy that can really help contain Tennessee's offensive rebounds, even though he's one of the shorter players on the court.
Ziegler's alone. Misses. Rebound by Phillips. And Julian Phillips going to the free throw line.
Well, bricks and air balls can be some of the toughest ones to rebound because the ball is really not going to bounce where you expect it to. And Julian Phillips, one of the best offensive rebounders in the league, and has a really high motor for this Tennessee team.
Yeah, that offensive glass, we knew that about Julian Phillips, but looking at him, obviously he was originally committed to LSU, but the coaching staff, they've talked about, it's been constant talk with him. We need you to play at a high level. Even if he's walking through the office, hey, Julian, we need you to play at a high level.
I think the best mismatch he provides is when he's at the three. With his size and physicality, I mean, he can really punk a lot of opposing three men, and that's what Josiah Jordan-James can bring to the table, where he can kind of slide to the four, let Phillips take advantage of that. And we saw that quite a bit in their road victory at Starkville.
Define punk the three-man. When you say punk, what do you mean?
How about paint touches,
yeah,
and ones, whatever you want. Let's just say it leads to you getting subbed out of the game because you can't check them.
Right. Julian Phillips for three.
Again, that was a shot that wasn't really reliable for him in the non-conference, but he has found his stroke in conference play, and if he can knock that down, look out.
And he only had two field goals against Kentucky, and then they challenged him. You got to be more aggressive offensively.
Tennessee, it's just so hard to run any offense. I mean, here we are deep in the shot clock, and LSU has not gotten the ball even inside the arc.
Ziegler almost coughing it up. It's going to roll over half court. They say it was touched. Jump ball possession arrow pointing to LSU.
We love the hustle there as Josiah Jordan-James dives for that ball with a smile on his face.
Well, here's our big Monday ACC Big 12 college basketball doubleheader on ESPN and the app. Duke is in Blacksburg taking on Virginia Tech at 7 Eastern. Then we'll take you to Waco for number 21 Baylor squaring off against number 2 Kansas. How about the Jayhawks today? Getting beat again. First time with back-to-back losses this season. Yeah,
and getting smoked. I mean, they were able to put up a 19-0 run on Kansas. Was TCU to put up a 19-0 run on Kansas's home court? That does not happen.
Offensive foul.
Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, LSU has really run a nice play down low for KJ Williams. They scored early in this game on a similar play, a little cross screen for him on the block. They turned it over the next time, and that time an illegal screen. It's been a good look for them that they probably could have had 6 points instead. It's resulted in 2 points, a turnover, and an offensive foul.
And 3 fouls now on Ace Miller.
Yeah, that makes it really tough. That's your best outside threat. I felt like LSU had to get 3 triples in this game from Miller if they were going to pull off an upset.
He's 0 for 3 from 3 today so far. Justice Williams, his 3rd career start today. LSU again without Justice Hill. He's away from the team for personal reasons. Williams to the paint, the floater, and foul.
Good job by Williams, reading that he had the big man, Awaka, out on the perimeter. Don't settle from 3, make him try to move his feet, gets in the paint. Now at the free throw line.
That was on Josiah Jordan-James, his first. And Justice Williams, he reclassified, so he really should be a freshman this year, but he's a sophomore. Missed the non-conference last season. He was dealing with an injury, so only averaged about 10 minutes a game last year. Adu back in the game for the Vols.
So if you're Coach Matt McMahon, you see the depth that Tennessee has. Usually when a team starts subbing, you start licking your chops a little bit. When Tennessee starts subbing, you shake your head like, man, I forgot they got Adu also. I mean, this is a guy with a 9'4" standing reach, big time rim protector. So it's going to be even tougher for LSU to get those paint points that they desperately need.
Yeah, he worked on the offense, talking about Adu to extend that shooting range, and his effort has been really tough recently too. James for three. Josiah Jordan James.
He's playing with a ton of confidence right now. A strange start to the season. As we talked about, he was out for a bulk of games, came back for 2, then missed another 4, and it was like, hey, what's up with the knee? Is he going to be back? Is he not? And then they brought him back kind of in limited minutes, so they slowly but surely they brought him along, and I credit Chad Newman, their athletic trainer, this coaching staff of managing that situation. And now Josiah Jordan James is playing his best basketball as the season goes on for Tennessee.
What's the biggest thing Tennessee missed when he was out?
I think the versatility in the lineups. Like they were playing really big, but with him, they can play a little bit smaller without giving anything up from a physicality standpoint or rebounding.
Sean Phillipson, number 34, is Hayes for 3. LSU just their second made 3. They're 2 for 11.
Great pump fake by Hayes there, just being patient, sidestep, found the opening.
Meshack can't answer.
That's a shot he's going to have to try to knock down a little more consistently if he wants to get big minutes. He's a big-time defender, but he's got to have that complementary piece on this end of the court.
Now he's 5 for 20 on the season from 3. Little heat check for Hayes.
It's a really important last few minutes for LSU. You're hanging in there. Keep this single digits. Don't give up open looks like that on the defensive end. You don't want to be a double-digit deficit going into halftime against an elite defense like Tennessee.
Vescovy, they'll swing it all the way around. Meshack, the pull-up for 2. Ball movement for Tennessee.
And you wonder why people compare Vescovy to a little bit of a Manu Ginobili. You saw it right there, the lefty, the ball fake getting in there. Nice play.
It's a foul on Derek Fountain.
And here's Santiago Vescovy. He's going to penetrate. You think he's going to kick it out. No, sir. A little ball fake. Whoop. And then the nice kick out, ball movement. Tennessee starting to click on offense.
Fonz is a tough team.
Well, we know they're the most efficient defense in the country, but their offense, now that they have Josiah Jordan James back, Seth, gives them another guy that can knock down a 3, another guy can get in the lane and make plays.
Tennessee's a team that could be a #1 seed. They can play big, small, fast, slow. They can turn you over. They get to the offensive glass. They remind me of the Tennessee Vols of Dane Bradshaw.
You know, Seth, that was so valuable. The year after I left, Tennessee became #1 in the country.
Well,
so how's that make
leaving.
you feel for the departure? Y'all are spot on. Tennessee's defense is so elite. Their ball pressure is second to none. They can impose their will down low. And then if you think, okay, maybe we can beat them from 3, you can't. They're the top-rated three-point defense in the entire country, too. And when you ask opposing coaches what makes them so good, in one word, they would say physicality.
Josiah Jordan James in the paint. Rebound by Key. 6 offensive boards now for Tennessee. Key all alone for 3. Tennessee with its 7th made 3 today.
He's one of the sharpshooters for Tennessee. You can't ever leave the ball, especially when it's a shooter, a breakdown by LSU. And we talked about it just a minute ago, how important the final stanza was for LSU to hang in there, not be defeated heading into the locker room.
Hayes rolls out. Going back to Tennessee's defense, it helps too. They can play with their lineup. They don't lose anything defensively when they make a lineup change.
And you talked to Rick Barnes about, hey, a lot of times coaches want to start shrinking their rotation at this point in the season. He said, no, man, we're going to keep rolling with the guys. As long as they do their job, we'll keep playing you. And you see it right there. There's just no opportunities to get a clean look. Courtney, in half of their games this season, they have held teams to under 50 points, 50 or under. I mean, that's absurd. And so while LSU does have their offensive struggles and limitations, this is as much about Tennessee's elite defense as it is LSU's offense.
Adu gets the first. Yet Tennessee's also held 11 opponents this year, 11 of their 18, to 33% from the field or worse. LSU shooting 35 right now. Under 2 minutes to go. LSU on another scoring drought over 2 minutes. They had a 9-minute scoring drought without a field goal earlier in the half.
Well, Tennessee's done a better job in this game. If there's one weakness to their defense, is they were fouling a little bit too much. They were losing that battle. And this one so far, just 4 trips to the line for LSU. And with only a minute 46 left, LSU still not in the bonus. So better job of defending without fouling.
Meshack was just whistled for the foul by Tennessee. They'll throw it up to KJ Williams. He's got 4 points, looking for 11 to hit 2,000 for his career today. And LSU's going to throw it away.
It's the ball pressure, it's deflections. And you look around and you say, man, can we not get in the paint or penetrate? But LSU doesn't have a lot of guys that can put it on the deck. When they do, they don't have a lot of shooters. So that help defender is cheating for Tennessee. And they get more turnovers and more steals without gambling than any team I can remember defensively.
Ziegler starts again. Key. Got it!
Well, they want him looking for his shot. This is a big-time scorer historically as a high school player and in college. And Tennessee starting to run away with this one.
Louisville, this one, there's always something, big rivalry between these two. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern. The ACC, one of those top conferences in women's basketball. I'd say the ACC along with the Big Ten, both projected to have 8 teams in the tournament, along with the SEC by Charlie Cream.
Those are the opportunities you want, though. I mean, there's a lot of conferences out there that wish they had those quality win opportunities on their schedule to build their resume up. And so those leagues that you just mentioned, there's plenty of those, and there's just another deflection.
Josiah Jordan-James misses the dunk. Adu's got it.
Well,
1 minute.
Love that, though, if you're Rick Barnes. Josiah Jordan-James has been a guy that's been a little bit too conservative when he attacks the rim. You want to see him try to finish above the rim as opposed to lay it in.
Key stepping into the 3. It's a 13-3 run for Tennessee. KJ Williams walking on Adu. Turn around and one coming.
Well, boy, did they need that one. And KJ Williams loves to turn over that left shoulder. Yes, he's known for his pick and pop ability as a three-point shooter, but this is money. I mean, he's got a really good jump hook.
Spent 4 seasons at Murray State. Obviously, he was with Matt McMahon, the OVC Player of the Year, and he's got a free throw coming when we come back to Baton Rouge.
Transfer portal, but he said, you know what? I want to help you rebuild this at LSU, coach. And he has certainly been terrific, specifically on the offensive end.
About a second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Ziegler guarded by Justice Williams. James, an open look right at the free throw line. Cam Hayes hustling. Tennessee ending on a 12-2 run. Volunteers up at the half at 39-22. Let's get you to the studio.
All right, Courtney, an impressive 20 minutes on the road for Tennessee. Jeep halftime report, Kev Fons, and Coach, in studio. Top 11 matchup in the Pac-12, UCLA and Arizona. Friesa and Ramey were a factor, but Fonz, those bigs really told the story.
He really did. It was Tabella. Struggled in the first half, only 3 points in the first, but he really got going in the second. 11 of his 14 in the second half, Seth.
This is a UCLA team. They've got to have their best players play well. Today, Campbell, Jaquez, Singleton, Clark really struggled against this Arizona defense.
Dembona made it a 4-point game with 30 seconds to go. Down the stretch, opportunities for the Bruins, but they could not convert. And that 14-game win streak comes to an end in the McHale Center. An Arizona team that had been inconsistent, but boy, what a win today, 58-52. Your final Jeep halftime report. LaFonso Wells, Coach Seth Green.
And that would be an illegal court storm.
Yeah.
They storm. That would be absolutely illegal. Excuse me.
Shorts.
The games have been physical today. You know, you got some rivalry games going on out there.
You guys are muscling each other around right there.
This is what we do.
Tennessee muscling around LSU right now, and talk about a team that's getting into the upper echelon in the SEC. It's the Auburn Tigers playing awfully well off the big win over LSU this week.
Well, Janai Broome has been terrific in this game, Seth. Only 10 points total scored in his last 2 games. He's got 19 in this one right now.
And right now, this Auburn team defensively absolutely dominates you. They create offense out of their defense. They're active. They pressure the basketball. They take away your opponent's best scorer. And they're getting better play on their backcourt.
Yes.
17-point Tigers lead on the SEC network. Texas A&M and Kentucky, Coach, it was a physical game just the way this guy likes it.
Yeah, Oscar Sheba, how about that? That's pretty good touch right there. Kentucky wins this game because the lineup change that John Calipari's made, going with those bigger guards, playing Frederick, Wallace, Livingston, and Reeves has answered the bell. And I'll tell you, Tony Reeves is giving them a guy who can consistently knock down shots.
Seth, and we talked about them getting consistent play from the floor. Jacob Toppin chipped in with 17 today.
Reeves always willing to take them, but he's making them now.
Never saw a shot he didn't like.
When we come back, how about the shot TCU delivered in the fog today? You'll see it next.
This halftime report is presented by Jeep. There's only one. Time report.
Cat Fonson coach and Marcus Carr and number 7 Texas, an always tough road test in Morgantown coming up next. You'll see it, 6 o'clock Eastern ESPN. TCU wanted Fog Allen for the first time ever. What was the key to their dominant win?
Well, TCU loves to be able to not only play fast but turn you over. Kansas usually doesn't turn the basketball over, but they turned it over 17 times in this game, led to 20 points. That was the difference, Al.
TCU imposed their identity on the game. Points off turnovers, 42 points. Turnovers, 20 points. Fast break points, 19 points. That's TCU basketball. And they did a great job forcing basically someone else to beat them because you know what? Jalen Wilson got his, but no one else got theirs.
Second loss this week for Kansas, Fonz. Any concerns there?
Well, what the teams are starting to do with Grady Dick is they're starting to face guard him. What my brother Seth likes to call red
deny, baby.
Red deny him, and now it's taking him out of the game. He was 3 of 13 in this game.
In the history of the AP poll, tied for the second largest home loss by a top 3 team. Texas Tech in Manhattan, and if you were concerned about a hangover from K-State, Keontae Johnson made sure there was none of that.
Yeah, Keontae Johnson was great in the second half, 13 points in the second half. He had 11 rebounds. He is a match-up night. Put a small on him, takes him down. You put a big on him, he takes you away from the basket. Kansas State has depth, athleticism, and play with great confidence, Fonz.
And a terrific point guard in Marquise Noel, who can score it in any way you wanted. He was knocking down a D3 ball, making great passes like that. He was phenomenal. 23 points in this game and 8 rebounds for him.
68-58. Meantime, Oklahoma State rallied from 12 down in the second half to beat Iowa State.
That is a big, big-time win. Caleb Boone and Anderson were terrific. Huge win for Oklahoma State. They won 2 in a row.
Oklahoma Baylor on ESPN2. Xavier Georgetown. Coach, the Musketeers assisted on 31 of 39 field goals.
They have the best passing days in college basketball. They invert their offense, bringing their bigs away from the basket. On the perimeter, they can pass it, get paint touches. Sule Boone has been absolutely phenomenal, and Adam Kunkel, he makes threes. To me, this is a Final Four for a good team, Fonz.
You just mentioned all the pieces, and they have one more in Kobe Jones, a dynamic small forward, long arms, can knock down the three, can get in the lane and make plays. He had 20 in this game.
What we're saying is Sean Miller's got some team right now, 16-4.
Top 6 returning scorers, and he's got them defending, but they really share the ball.
Ed Cooley and Providence pick up the win over to Paul, and look at Marquette, up 8 on Seton Hall after their win over UConn, and we're coming back.
Is your score Tennessee, number 9 Tennessee, on top of LSU. Courtney Lyle and Dane Bradshaw with you. And Tennessee, their defense was there obviously, but they were sharing the basketball. 10 assists on 13 made field goals.
That's Tennessee basketball on the offensive end. They are at their best when they're moving, passing, cutting, hitting the open man, hitting the open shot, and they did it with a lot of dribble penetration. Josiah Jordan-James, just a mismatch nightmare for the opponent. And here you are swinging around. Julian Phillips, all of a sudden he's getting more confident from three, and the pass cutting, the mid-range. LSU wanted to make Tennessee try to settle from mid-range and from three, but Tennessee made them pay on that, and it was everybody involved. Tyreek Key hit a couple himself. This team has been red hot. That performance in the second half at Mississippi State has carried over into this one.
Yeah, Tennessee made 8 3-pointers in the first half. LSU made 8 field goals.
Yeah. And if you're Matt McMahon, that's kind of what you want to do, though. You hope Tennessee can have one of those 3 for 20 type performances from deep, but there were just too many open looks. If you're going to do it, make it contested threes.
Vescovy coming off the screen, make it 9 made threes now for Tennessee. Tom Sokoviak, the SID for Tennessee, texted us in the last 2 halves of basketball for Tennessee. Volunteers are 16 of 28 from 3, 57%.
Well, and that's when they're a complete team. Tennessee fans know and expect them to be elite defensively, but can they rely on their offense? And right now, there's not many players on this Tennessee team not playing with extreme confidence.
There's KJ Williams. Now coming into this game, we were watching Williams, the OVC Player of the Year last year. He needed 11 points to get 2,000 for his career. He's now 5 away from that. Justice Williams driving baseline. He's stopped by Tennessee.
Oh, Ziegler's going to want to have the replay of that. He doesn't get too many blocks, but it looked like it was the little man 5 that came from behind.
Julian Phillips driving in. Tennessee came in wanting to attack the paint, but only 8 paint points in that first half because they were hitting threes.
Yeah, they took what the defense gave them, and that's when they're most dangerous. If they can make those shots, then they're really tough to stop.
Williams, patience.
He's really good down low, and he loves to turn over that left shoulder, jump hook, very skilled, much more than just a pick and pop 3-point shooter.
And he leads them in almost every offensive category. LSU struggles this year have been on offense. Matt McMahon came into a cupboard that was pretty bare for this LSU team when he took over the program this year.
It has, and they just don't get many live ball turnovers on this end of the court, so their defense doesn't give them those easy buckets. See if they can push it a little bit in transition here instead of going up against that stifling half-court defense time and time again for Tennessee.
It didn't help, too, that one of their big-time shooters, Ace Miller, number 44 in white, he picked up 3 fouls in the first half. KJ Williams, that's 11 points, and that's 2,000 for his career.
What an incredible accomplishment. He's earned them all and has gotten better every single season. Mr. Reliable on the offensive end.
Was just recognized a few games ago for his 1,000th rebounds, and now 2,000 points to go along with it.
We saw KJ Williams down low, show you the post-up game, and here's just a little pick and pop, and Josiah Jordan-James has to commit. If Kamwa gets stuck down low, then you got to sell out and try to make Williams put it on the deck. Watch for a lob to Kamwa here.
Second foul whistle against Derek Fountain. Do you mean like that?
Yeah, it's a play they try to execute about once a game. They don't often get it, but LSU just asleep at the wheel. You got to bust through that screen.
This was the lineup we saw start the game for the first time for Tennessee. What do you think about it?
It's their best offensive lineup, and I think oftentimes their best defensive too. James being the key to that with that versatility. But if there's one guy in this lineup that you say, all right, we got to get him going, it's Olivier Kamwa. And this was a guy that was 15 of 15 over a 2-game stretch early in conference play. And for Tennessee to be a Final Four team, he has to establish himself as the best 5-man on this team.
Just 2 points and 3 rebounds for Kamwa tonight.
Tennessee never plays the scoreboard, and that's what I admire about their defense is even as they build leads, they don't take any possessions off, and you're seeing it right now.
Miller looking for space, trying to shake Kamwa, and it's going to be a blocking foul on Olivier Kamwa.
This is that lob to Kamwa where they just do a little big screen, and it's really just a little diagonal screen with the best shooter setting it. Because Miller does not want to leave Vescovi, there's no help. And so Williams has to bust through that knowing it's coming, because Miller's in a position saying, hey, I can't leave Vescovi. He's their best shooter. And they throw it up top on a perfect lob play.
Tennessee glad to have Santi Vescovi back to attract that attention from defenses. He was out for the Mississippi State game.
When your best shooter is your best screener, it opens up things for everybody on the team.
Offensive foul on the screen.
Tough break there. I thought Kamwa moved his feet pretty well in the previous possession, got the blocking foul, and then gets caught on the wrong end of that one. Again, a really talented big man for Tennessee. Been a little bit out of rhythm lately, but he is certainly a key to a deep postseason run for this Tennessee team.
Well, that's 3 fouls on Kamwa, so he'll take a seat. Jonas Adu back in the game for Tennessee. They do have depth in the post, even without Uros Plavšić, who is unavailable today with illness overnight. Oh, Santi got a hand on it. Miller. Lost the ball. It's going to be Tennessee basketball. Well, you may notice the special jerseys for LSU today. That's for a reason. They were honoring the 1979 SEC championship team. You see Dale Brown there in the brown sweater on the right side. Now, it was an urban legend. Actually, the players didn't like these jerseys when they wore them in 1979, but I'll tell you right now, there's been a lot of interest in the gift shop about them.
Yes.
Got the stars and the Louisiana State script on the front.
The entire package, the shooting shirts were fire, the jerseys are too. And so, yeah, I hope they didn't throw those things away, because that's some vintage stuff right there.
That's 79 team, too. It was kind of the catalyst for a run that would put them in the Final Four in 1981.
Yeah. Rudy Macklin was really the key recruit that started all that under Dale Brown, a guy that chose to not go to a school in Kentucky. You know, he's from Louisville, Kentucky. You got options there. And so you go against the grain, and when you leave your home state, you want to try to do something nobody else has done before. And so that's exactly what Rudy Macklin was able to do, of going against the norm and becoming a legend here at LSU with not only individual success, but incredible team success as well.
Julian Phillips at the free throw line for Tennessee. You know, talking about LSU history, and I know Pistol Pete wasn't on that team. He was before that, but Pete Maravich, obviously we're playing in the PMAC here, and Rick Barnes, we got to talk with him. A little story time last night with Coach Barnes, which is always fun, but he had a great one about Pete Maravich. He said he was in 8th grade at a basketball camp at Campbell College, and they were doing a layup drill, and Pete Maravich was running one of the drills.
Yeah, and he said, hey, whoever can make a right-hand layup and a left-hand layup, last man standing wins. And Rick Barnes was the last camper left in that drill. All he had to do was make a left-hand layup to win the practice jersey off of Pete Maravich's back. So he thought, man, I got this. I know how to make a left-hand layup. Right when he goes up for the shot, Pete Maravich jumps at him out of nowhere with a little rim protection, and the shot did not go in. And so that was, you know, Rick Barnes was in 8th grade at that time, while Pete Maravich, I believe, was a junior in college. So the legend was certainly already there, and to be able to have that type of moment at a basketball camp, you know, was certainly memorable for Rick Barnes.
If you get to talk to Rick Barnes, then you know you're going to learn a lot. It won't be about the game, but it'll be about something around basketball.
That's why we got to go watch film work first with the team and the assistant coaches.
Tyreek Key hitting as the shot clock expires.
This is a guy I'm really interested to see for Tennessee. Now with his role coming off the bench, can he focus more about being a six-man scoring threat instead of facilitating the offense the way he was when Ziegler was coming off the bench?
Yeah, Tyreek Key, that Tennessee native from Salina, Tennessee, but played 5 seasons at Indiana State. Been talking to him a lot about shooting, too, getting his feet set, been ready to shoot when the ball comes to him.
Yeah, they showed several clips of Kevin Durant at Texas last night to the team and talked about how he was so shot ready, how low he got, even though he was tall, how he sat down low, got the ball over his head within an instant. And Tyreek Key is really a big physical guard, 6'2", but just all brute muscle, 210 pounds. And really, out of all the guards, I think he's the one you can really post up. And you saw him very comfortable in that mid-range area.
I think it was cool to see the players' reaction last night watching a young Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he was a problem. They showed the breakout game against Texas Tech. He had as freshman, of course, 37 and 24, I believe.
Just another night. With the giant uniforms, too.
Hey, the capri pants were cool,
yeah,
man.
You wore
the
those.
The capris were cool.
I remember you were rocking those. Well, our big Monday ACC Big 12 college basketball doubleheader on ESPN and the app. Duke in Blacksburg take on Virginia Tech at 7 Eastern. Then we'll take you to Waco for number 21 Baylor squaring off against number 2 Kansas. That is coming up on Monday. In the SEC, we saw Kentucky get a win over Texas A&M today, and that puts Kentucky in the field, according to Joe Lunardi. Both of those teams were on the bubble.
There you go. You like that move by Reed. This is a guy that kind of floats around the perimeter some, but he's got some handles to him for a big man and likes to take you off the bounce. And as he progresses, this is a guy to watch out for in SEC play. Maybe not by the end of this year, but for next year and years to come. Where you get him in space against another team's 5-man, he's going to be a problem.
Now, he started the first 8 games for LSU, but since has been coming off the bench. That's the 4th foul on Olivier Kamwa. Yeah, talking bracketology, Tennessee a number 2 seed right now. You think they can move up to a 1 seed?
Yeah, with that Kansas loss, and Tennessee certainly has the head-to-head advantage there with that Atlantis championship over the Jayhawks. So there's no question this Tennessee team could be a 1 seed. And I like the way their SEC schedule lines up as well. You know, who they get at home and who they have to go on the road with. For example, they host Alabama, which is right now the biggest threat to their SEC championship. So those are things when you look through that magic ball and try to predict the SEC championship, it's not just the eye test, it's the schedule test. And I think Tennessee's is pretty favorable.
You know, we were talking to Matt McMahon about his impressions first year coaching in the SEC. He talked a lot about, look, these teams have rim protectors, but there's a lot of good defensive teams too in this league.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, right now, Tennessee's starting to become more consistent on the offensive end, but really the only offense you fear coming into the game is Alabama's, and everybody else is man, they hang their hat on the defensive end. And so come March, will it be one of those where a lot of SEC teams advance because defense travels and they're winning these 60-56 type games? Or do they lose some of those games 56-50 because their offense just put way too much pressure on their defense? And right now, Tennessee's emerging as one of those more reliable offenses that maybe wasn't there early in the season.
Tip in by James. You know, I got to see Brandon Miller in Alabama in person for the first time Tuesday. Have you seen him in person?
Not in person.
Oh, man, it's a treat.
Matt McMahon said, he goes, that's the best talent I've seen in person at the college level since John Morant, who he, of course, coached John at Murray State.
He's projected to be, what, 6th or 7th pick in the NBA draft?
Yeah, you made a great point. I mean, he just never wavers. If his game's off during the game or if he's getting denied a little bit, that road game at Arkansas where tough environment, and he was struggling to get a shot off there. And then all of a sudden, Alabama went on a 9-0 run in 45 seconds late in that game. 2 triples from Miller. He's an absolute stud and a game changer.
Yeah, you can't get him frustrated, which makes him elite. That's been falling all day for Tennessee. They've hit 12 3-pointers. That ties their SEC season high. Their season high is 14 overall. Hit 8 of those in the first half. LSU kind of hoping, hey, making Tennessee take the 3, keeping them out of the paint, but Volunteers hitting.
Yeah, they've taken half of their shots from beyond the arc. And if you're Coach Matt McMahon, that's kind of what you wanted. However, there's been way too many that were more wide open without a strong contest. And you're also running into a big-time confidence team right now as well.
How about the feed from Justice Williams to Trey Hannibal?
And a good back cut there as Hannibal caught the defender ball watching.
Key in the corner. Rebound by Hayes. Offensive foul on Trey Hannibal. Under 8 to go here in Baton Rouge. Tennessee in control.
Another bare-knuckle fight in the Big 12. Jalen Hill and Oklahoma Fonz up on Baylor.
Yeah, when I think of Jalen Hill, I think of a big physical wing who's a defensive-minded guy, but he's scoring today. He's got 10 in this game.
That game's on ESPN 2. Meantime, Coach Keedron Johnson and West Virginia get Texas next.
Coming off 20 against a huge win against TCU. West Virginia's got a hold serve at home. This will be an absolute rock fight.
As is every game in the Big 12. Courtney, back to you.
Thank you so much. Tennessee in control here. Zakai Ziegler getting the start today and showing up.
Yeah, what has he not done? I mean, this guy was able to penetrate the defense early. We've seen him be able to get his teammates involved as well. Came into the game leading the SEC in assists in league play, and that's going to be his favorite highlight. He's got a block. He takes a charge. We talked about, is he emerging as the best point guard in the SEC? He's making a strong case, and as I've said before, I hadn't seen a little man ball like this since Little Bow Wow did it, like Mike. Zakai Ziegler give him a run for his money.
Did you just throw a Little Bow Wow reference into this game?
I mean, how can you not?
I mean, easily.
He's controlling it like he did. Can he rap like him? I don't know.
That's a career high 2 blocks for him, and I believe it's just Bow Wow now. He dropped the little.
My bad, yeah. I'm not up to date on anything cool or current since 07.
Oh, LSU hit that one back in. Tennessee led 39-22 at the half. They hit 8 3-pointers in the first half. They've got 12 in the game. 4 players in double-digit scoring. LSU had a 9-minute drought without a field goal in that first half. That hurt them.
Yeah, they've had some big-time droughts, and they just put so much pressure on their defense, but they've got to realize, hey, what can we control? It might not be the scoring droughts, but we can make sure, by God, if we're not scoring, neither is the other team. And I think that's where they've really got to do some self-reflecting and get in the film room, as Coach Matt McMahon has to continue to stay patient and positive with this team. But there's no time. Nobody's feeling sorry for you as they have to go to Bud Walton Arena on Tuesday.
Yeah, face an Arkansas team that they beat this year already. You know, Razorbacks will be fired up. Well, Monday night on the SEC Network, the undefeated number 3 LSU women's basketball team taking on Alabama. Crimson Tide have won 3 straight. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. If you have not seen Angel Reese play, she is absolutely incredible. Look at what she is averaging on the season. She has 19 straight double-doubles. That ties the LSU consecutive double-doubles record with Sylvia Fowles, whose, you know, jersey is hanging in the rafters.
Yeah, you could establish residency here. You were on the call the other night for her, right? When she blocked a shot with one shoe in her hand as well.
You don't need a shoe to block a shot.
And to clarify, she didn't use the shoe. That was in the offhand.
She was just holding it in her left hand, blocked the shot with her right hand. LSU was their first big test against Arkansas. They survived on Thursday to stay undefeated. Tipped in by Adu.
LSU really struggling there with those second chance points. The length, inside shots lead to inside rebounds, and Tennessee, that's part of their offense really, is getting the ball up there on the glass and attacking heavily from everyone from the 3 to the 4 to the 5.
KJ Williams, we've seen that move from him a couple of times. That gives him 13 points. He hit 2,000 points for his career tonight.
And that's a really difficult shot. He makes it look easy, but it certainly is not. A jump hook from 8 to 10 feet out, it's tough.
Eight seconds. Shot clock violation, Tennessee. He takes a seat with 10 points off the bench today for Tennessee. He's one of 4 volunteers in double figures. LSU, they've hit their last 3 shots.
Yeah, I think since Coach Matt McMahon made some of those subs midway through the second half, that's a careless turnover there.
It's going to be turnover number 18, and it leads to 2 more points for James.
I mean, how smooth is that? To be able to read the defender. And James is a left-hand player, so to go under the rim with your right hand and make it look that easy is really a testament to his talent.
Josiah Jordan James has a season-high 22 points. His career high is 23.
Here's James going to get the deflection. Again, they don't gamble. They just stay in passing lanes and in the right position. And look at this. The lefty says, all right, you're going to try to swat that away. No problem. The veteran says, let me teach you something.
On the other end, whistled for his 3rd foul. Puts Reed at the line. You look at the SEC, Tennessee 5-1 in SEC play. Obviously, for the SEC tournament purposes, you want to be one of those top 4 to get the double bye.
Yeah, it's been a wild season in the SEC so far. You had a couple teams struggle in non-conference that you didn't expect in Texas A&M and Florida, but they're starting to find their footing a little bit in conference play, specifically the Aggies. And then some of those surprise teams such as Mississippi State, LSU, Missouri, that are now being humbled just a little bit in league play. Some more so than others with Missouri, as you saw right there. Certainly thinking about Selection Sunday as they have held their own with their tempo and their pace under Coach Dennis Gates. Been a really exciting team to watch.
And one of the fastest in the nation. Reed gets stripped. 19 turnovers for LSU. Tennessee only has 6 turnovers today. Their season low is 11.
And again, that's Tennessee's ball security, which is a positive. They got lucky right there. Ziegler's going to get the luckiest assist of his life as Barnes yells at him. But LSU just can't create any live ball turnovers, and that makes their offense go in some of those longer droughts as well when you can't get those fast break transition buckets.
Ziegler now with a double-double, 12 points, 10 assists, and just 1 turnover. Short on the 3. .6-0 run for Tennessee. Volunteers up big.
Tennessee, a Saturday morning, January 28th, Texas and Tennessee, part of the Big 12 SEC Challenge. Show is at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Now, Tennessee gave us 2 of our best, maybe our 2 best college football game day crowds this year. What do you got, Rocky Top?
Look, we're a ways away from Knoxville, but I think I can hear in the distance, challenge accepted.
If they think the pregame was wild, they should have seen the postgame
Yeah.
a couple of those game days.
Well,